My name is Sesda Kwajimai. I trained in Ghana as a nurse, and in the year 2019, I decided to look for opportunities to pursue my career in the United Kingdom. In the year 2021, by God's grace, I flew on the plane for the first time in my life to a new country. I was excited, but little did I know I'll be crying at some point. Don't mind me, I'm a strong young man. If I sit here and then tell you that I didn't face any challenges as a Ghanaian trained nurse continuing my career in the UK, then I'll say that I have lied to you. So in this video, I'll be sharing with you some of the challenges I faced as an overseas nurse in the UK. And as I talk about each one of these challenges, I'll try as much as possible to tell you how I overcame them all. The reason for this video is that it will serve as an instrument to help you work on your expectations, especially if you are planning to work in the NHS as an overseas registered nurse. I'm going to talk about 6 challenges I faced as an overseas nurse in the United Kingdom and how I overcame them. Each of these challenges would occupy one chapter, so what I will say is that feel free to explore what you want to watch. Some of the challenges I will talk about include the first challenge as an overseas nurse in the UK was the environment. What did it do to me? The last time I sat back to reflect on my life back in Ghana to that of my life in the UK, I discovered something. I discovered the change of environment has changed so much about my lifestyle, and most of the changes were things I disliked. One thing I must say is that, you see, I have come to accept the fact that your environment holds certain power that no matter who you are, when it comes against you, you can't resist it. And that is exactly what happened to me. You see, at the time I was preparing to travel, I never knew anybody I could count on to tell me more about the UK. Though I knew the UK would entangle me with cold weather, unlike where I have lived almost all my life. But, I didn't expect some of the things I saw. I didn't expect that my slippers and sandals could only be worn indoors 99% of the time. I didn't expect that my feet had to be encroached on a shoe every time I was going out. I didn't expect that I would be wearing a coat on my nice outfit anytime I was to go out for church service or meet some friends. This changed my mentality about buying new clothes. I only focused on buying coats, pullovers, and stuff to combat the harsh weather. I always say that it also became a hard story for me to believe when I had to wear a pair of shoes throughout a 12-hour shift. This is something that I never experienced in Ghana. It was hard for me to adapt to it. On my first day at work, I broke down. It was the first time happiness ran away from me. It was the first time confidence became my biggest enemy. It was the first time I ever blamed myself for making a senseless decision. The decision to travel from a known environment to an unknown environment. Everything seemed like I was now starting my first year of nursing. My mind was completely blank. Everything appeared so different and then completely new to me. Different shades of healthcare professionals from different nationalities with different accents. One question was always on my lips: will I fit well in this environment? I didn't know about that yet. Within the first few months, it was tough for me. I will go to work normally, but deep inside, the happiness I had when I landed at Heathrow Airport the first time in 26 years was no more. It was not as if the people weren't friendly. I was just concerned about fitting in, adapting and becoming glued to the norms and the policies of the new place. I perceived the work environment to be too complicated as compared to where I'm coming from, and then fast-paced than where I had come from. But here I am today, smiling. I have fitted and adapted so well that it is beyond my imagination. The very question we are asking is that, how did I come this far? Let me tell you what I did. Number one, I acknowledged the fact that it is a new environment and it will take time for these two eyes of mine to adapt. I also came to terms with the fact that if I'll be wearing shoes throughout a 12-hour shift, then I have got to make sure that the shoes I wear has a soft sole to cushion my feet so that I don't come home with leg pains. I also thought it wise to ask a lot of questions about virtually everything. The more you ask, the more you know, and that was my principle. Challenge number 2. Medicine management system. On my very first day on the ward, I worked as a pre-registered nurse because I had not passed my OSCE exams then. I picked up a prescription chart of one of the patients, and after going through it, I knew I had a long way to go. I saw 15 medications written out for the patient. Among these medications, I just knew 2 of them. What that meant was that if the patient were to ask me why he was taking any of the remaining medications, I wouldn't know. I kept worrying about this day and night because I had seen my senior colleagues go to administer medications. And then the patient was like, "Why are you giving me this medication?" And they are confident enough to say what the drug is, what it does, and then so on. I wouldn't want to embarrass myself in front of my patients and colleagues, so I decided to do the following. Number 1, I decided to accept the fact that I am new to the environment, as I said previously. Therefore, everything would appear new. Hence, seeing myself as a first year student isn't bad, but it should rather humble me to learn more. Also, I decided that I would take a small notebook to work. I would write down any new medications I come across, and once I get home from work, I will sit back and then search for them via Google. This exercise helped me a lot, especially during my OSCE. And even now, I still write down new medications and research them during my free time. Also, I decided before I go to give any medication to a patient, I will first of all review the medications. And if there are any I do not know about, I'll briefly read about them before going to the patient's bedside. Another thing I did that helped me was the hospital's medicine management training. You see, the training opened my eyes to a lot of things that boosted my confidence to learn more and more about medications. Challenge number 3. Language and accent issues. When I came to the UK, I promised myself one thing. I would never change my accent. I'm a Ghanaian and my accent should be my identity. That is how I feel and I felt at that time. I was not ready to change how I spoke. And until now, I still hold on to this policy even though I know the environment is trying so hard to neutralize my identity. But let's see how it goes. There are so many instances where I have had a lengthy conversation on the work telephone with a patient's family, and after speaking, they are like, "Sorry, I didn't understand all that you said. Can you say that again? Or can you keep the phone to someone I can understand?" Some will say, "Sorry, you are speaking too fast. Can you slow down a bit?" And I'm like, on the line, I decided to stay away from the work telephone. Why did I want to do that? I won't pick up this call. After all, I can't be understood. That was my perception. Because I can't be speaking at length and at the end of the day, I'm told I haven't been understood. There have been numerous instances where I also found it hard to understand what patients, their families and work colleagues said because of the accent. You see, communication is key for every nurse, so if I communicate and I can't be understood, or if others communicate with me and I find it hard to decipher what is being said, my work life will be very difficult. But the very question is that how did I solve the language and the accent issue? At first, I decided to learn to change my accents. I wanted to define my identity for the first time. I felt like changing how I pronounce words will help them understand me. But the question is, would they also change their accent to understand what I say? No, I don't think so. With this understanding, I decided to allow time and the environment to do their work. I strongly believe that with time, you would become used to one another's accent and could live happily thereafter. And that happened. Now the work telephone is my friend. I call to update families every now and then. I call the doctor to escalate the patient's concerns. I speak to other members of the healthcare team now and then. All I can say is that, you see, time and the environment saved me from dishonoring my culture. I can't throw away my identity. I'm a Ghanaian and I must stick to my cultural identity, which is language and then accent. The challenge number 4 I had has to do with the shift system. Coming from Ghana, I was used to a day shift which starts from 7:30 a.m. and then ends at 1:30 p.m. An afternoon shift which starts from 1:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. and the night shift starting from 7:30 p.m. to the next morning 7:30 a.m. In the UK healthcare system, I saw something different. There is an early shift which starts at 7:15 a.m. to 1:15 p.m. A late shift which starts from 11:45 a.m. to 7:45 p.m. and there is a long day shift which runs from 7:15 a.m. to 7:45 p.m. There is a night shift which commences at 7:15 p.m. and ends at 7:45 a.m. the next day, and a twilight which can start at any time of the day, let's say 4 p.m. and ends the next day at 4 a.m. Or you can start at 2 p.m. and then finish at 2 a.m. Even though day shift is not common, I never had to experience that in Ghana. Realizing that 80% of my shift would be a long day, I began contemplating how best I could cope. Standing on my feet for 8 hours in Ghana wasn't an easy task, and to talk of 12 hours. I remember how my first long day shifts left pains in my legs, and how tired I felt even as a pre-registered nurse. So the very questions I kept asking myself are, how long will I continue to do this, and will this be favorable to my health at all? The point is, I didn't know how to make things easy for myself, so I decided to distinguish between the activities I can do while sitting down, then those I need to stand and do. I also decided that I will wear a shoe with a foamy underside so that it could absorb pressure from my feet, and also thought it wise to utilize my break time very well. Go and sit outside somewhere to rest my legs and then mind. I also decided to read some books on resilience and stress management, and I will wish to share some of the lessons I have learned in the later video. This is how I have survived the stress and pressure from the shift until now. Challenge number 5: financial external pressures. One of my biggest prayers is for every Ghanaian, or let me say every African, to have a taste of how it feels like to be living abroad. Do you know why? I come from the part of the world where travel abroad means automatic success. That this young man has made it. That this young man has started counting money. That this young man has no cause with poverty again. Sometimes I come back from work to see many messages saying one thing: can you borrow me this amount of money? Please, I need your help financially. Please, can you help me pay for my IELTS? The same tone. It's all about, rendering financial support to people. And for some, they don't even know whether I have eaten or not, whether I'm doing well or not, whether I have it or not. So far as I'm in the UK, they think that I should have it and then can help them. The point is that traveling abroad to work doesn't guarantee automatic success. I think it's just an opportunity to make meaning out of life. So back in Ghana, if I used to spend all my monthly salary and I continue the same attitude here, I don't think anything will change. Nothing changes. Most of my friends are going through this similar situation, and for me, I understand. It's just about the perception people back home have. Probably, I don't think it's bad to be helping someone who needs help, but sometimes it's just frustrating for people to believe that you have. Meanwhile, in here, you are struggling to even find what to eat. You are struggling to, you are even struggling with work, and they wouldn't even bother trying to check on you. But all they care about is that they want something and then they must get it. And if you're unable to get it for them, the story about you changes. If there's one short thing that made me homesick, I would say it is food. Talking about the part of the UK where I reside, it is a Herculean task to get already made Ghanaian food. And the policy became, if you crave for it, you cook it yourself. The challenge wasn't about cooking the kind of food I wanted. It's just that I couldn't cook fresh food every day. I have to cook like 1 week food and put it in the fridge and eat it gradually. Coming from Ghana, I was used to eating fresh cooked food almost every day. And even if I could not cook myself, I had the option to buy my favorite from outside. I can't complain now because I'm used to it. I'm only hoping that this fridge food, won't impose any health-related problems on me. Apart from that, I'm okay now. Thank you very much for watching this video up to this point. If you like it, push the like button and then share as well. See you in my next video. Bye.